keeping people healthy. They aim to engage and empower individuals and communities to choose healthy behaviors and make changes that reduce the risk of developing chronic diseases and other illnesses. Join me on New Health Chat every Thursday at 9 p.m. on Ubc TV, sponsored by National Medical Stores, who are mandated to procure, store and distribute essential medicines and medical supplies to all public health facilities in the country.
Uganda, the land of sunshine. Breathtaking, stunning sights, incredibly extensive large greenery. Variety of wild animals and bird species. A wide range of luxury holiday facilities. Diverse, rich culture.
Very good evening. Welcome once again. This is News Tonight, and I'm Patricia Lokoma. On sign language, we will shortly be joined by Mugalu Mohammed. First, though, the headlines. Government lifts ban on sugarcane export to Kenya. MPs blocked from accessing alleged illegal detention centers. And on the international scene, Parliament suspension begins as Johnson election bid fails. In sports, FUBA sets playoffs date. Welcome once again. This is News Tonight. Mugalu Mohammed will be joining us shortly. But let us start with the presidential press unit, where President Yoweri Museveni has said that the government of Uganda has lifted the ban on the export of raw sugarcane to Kenya for a period of only 3 months, effective next week. The decision was reached during a meeting chaired by President himself at State House Entebbe that brought together sugarcane millers and sugarcane farmers from Busoga sub-region. The move, he said, aims at allowing Ugandan farmers sell surplus sugarcane that is not consumed locally, as we hear in this report.
Logically now, the wise thing also for not have so much confusion is to agree that the mature cane, if it doesn't have a ready buyer among our factories here, then it should be exported.
The decision to export sugarcane was reached last evening during a meeting chaired by President Museveni at State House in Entebbe that brought together sugar millers and sugarcane farmers from Busoga sub-region. Ugandan farmers for the last few months have grown too much sugarcane, resulting in a surplus supply on a local market in Uganda. The decision to lift the ban will see Uganda export raw sugarcane to allow Kenya-based factories that are willing to buy sugarcane from Uganda. The meeting emphasized and agreed that only mature sugarcane should be exported, adding that an agricultural officer should determine sugarcane maturity and its fitness for export.
Agricultural officer is to determine the maturity of the cane. And the second point, for export, that
to confirm.
To confirm, yes, Your Excellency.
The meeting also resolved that if a farmer had credit with a miller, the miller is obliged to buy all the mature sugarcane within the agreed contract period. If not, the miller should compensate the farmer for the loss.
The giver of the credit is not ready to take the cane within the 48 hours. Then let him go, he will pay you later.
President Museveni directed that all bond warehouses should be banned with immediate effect in order to harmonize the price of sugar and route for the expansion and growth of the sugar industry. The president also asked sugar millers and farmers to work together, adding that the two players need each other in order to ensure the survival of the sugar industry. He, however, cautioned sugarcane farmers about the low returns from sugarcane production, saying that the ventures will not get them out of poverty, mostly those who have small pieces of land. He, therefore, called on them to diversify their production ventures and concentrate more on crops like coffee, poultry, piggery, and fish farming, among other enterprises that can yield good income for their home states. Trade, Industry and Cooperatives Minister, Honorable Amelia Chambade, said her ministry will allow Uganda sugarcane farmers to export excess sugarcane to Kenya for only 3 months.
N'olwekyo ffe mu ministry twagenda ne tugamba nti katugulewo emyezi 3. Emyezi 3 tugira tutwala. Naye ng'Omunnakenya yagamba nti atusasula emitwalo 15 buli metric ton.
She revealed that her ministry is doing all that is possible to secure licenses for farmers to sell their raw sugarcane to avert incurring losses. She strongly advised sugarcane farmers to form a consortium in transportation of their sugarcane to ensure realization of tangible benefits.
Naye awo mbasabira nti singa mutwalira wamu ne mukola consortium ne mutagenda omwomu.
President Museveni and his counterpart Uhuru Kenyatta of Kenya met on the sidelines of the 8th TCAT conference in Japan last month and discussed issues relating to the sugar business in their neighboring countries.
And now in the annual sector review, where government has realized a drop on commitment fees charged on borrowed funds from US from $26.5 million to about $4.6 million, though delayed disbursement of loans has affected timely completion of planned projects. Now, this has affected the outcome and the output levels of performance across most of the government sectors to near dismal of average. However, this has not affected the Ministry of Defense, whose performance remains at over 100%, and the road construction sector, whose performance is according to plan. Let's hear more.
So that all the money we have borrowed must be used quickly, and if necessary, used even before time.
Ministers and technical heads of government ministries, departments and agencies have been tasked to energize coordination and monitoring of government program implementation across the board. This was during the opening of the 10th Annual Performance Report Retreat of Government Ministries and Agencies, officiated by the Vice President Edward Chawanoka at the President's Office Towers in Kampala. This follows findings indicating a dismal outcome performance across 17 government sectors by 1 percentage point and a reduction of 9% in performance across government departments. This is attributed to delayed financial resource release and failure to complete projects in time due to delayed financing.
You will spend 2 days intensively scrutinizing the performance of various sectors while focusing on public finance investments, especially the externally funded projects, level of performance in alignment to the National Development Plan, so as to clearly inform the NDP3 preparation, the NRM government manifesto, the Sustainable Development Goals, the Regional Development Frameworks, and other government development strategies.
Premier Dr. Akana Rugonda, however, says funds absorption rate across government sectors and departments had largely improved, but advised line ministers, permanent secretaries, and other technical staff to strengthen their monitoring of program implementation.
We pay penalties if we do not use the money that we have borrowed. And I'm glad that now the amount of money we are paying as penalties as a result of improved performance has changed. We were paying $26.5 million as of June 2015, and now we are paying $4.6 million, a difference of $22 million, but it's an improvement, definitely.
Premier Rugonda reiterated government's resolve to fulfill sustainable development goals and to ensure national development plan targets are met for national development.
There is need to strengthen coordination and monitoring during the implementation of the National Development Plan. This is an area that we must concretely address with renewed vigor and innovation. Implementation has to take the whole of government approach to avoid duplication that leads to wastage of time and wastage of resources.
Karamoja Affairs Minister Engineer John Jabagambi said donor funds delays have affected completion of most public projects, in turn affecting national economic performance, mainly in infrastructure sector.
Limited ownership of projects by political and technical leadership. By the way, this is a very, very big point, whereby some of the MDAs have created ministries within ministries. They don't talk with the ministers. They think they are above them. They do whatever they want to do without consulting their ministers. There's no coordination at all. You find that the minister is not owning the project. He doesn't know even how the project is moving on. And I see, whenever we're in cabinet and the question is posed by the president, you see some of us running outside to bring the EDs. How is the project going? In other words, we are not that. There is limited follow-up, monitoring, and fast-tracking of the project's performance by permanent secretaries.
While giving an overview of government performance, the Minister of State for Karamoja Affairs, Moses Kizige, said the ease of doing business in Uganda had dropped from 122 to 127 out of 190 countries across the world. Kizige attributed this to lack of ease of accessing electricity, straining business, and dealing with construction habits.
There is a tendency for decline for almost everything. Energy and rural development declined by well over 20%. ICT and national guidance. There was no assessment there before, and the performance was just 31%. Tourism, trade and industry, 3% decline.
The Minister of Defense was rated the best performer, while the Minister of Works was credited for expansion of road infrastructure and recent attainment of 2 Bombardier aircrafts that have led to the revival of the aviation sector in the country. The annual performance review aims at refocusing government ministries and agencies on planned activities and outcomes, evaluate level sector contribution to improve livelihoods through effective utilization of capital development funding and adherence to the NRM manifesto. Haimana Deo, reporting for Ubc News, Kampala.
The U.S. government has pledged.
Turning on to the American aid, the U.S. government will maintain a flat funding to the Republic of Uganda in the year 2019-2020. Presenting the 2019 report, the U.S. ambassador to Uganda, Deborah Malak, said focus is on health education, security, prosperity of the people of Uganda, as we hear from Gabo Emon.
The U.S. government has pledged to maintain funding to the government of Uganda to boost the health, education and infrastructure development.
It's always in our system, the executive and the legislative branch have a certain dance that they do related to budget and assistance levels. So we are continuing until and if there is a reduction in the amount of funding that we receive. We are continuing with our programming and will continue to do so unless something changes.
Whereas many thought the U.S. would increase funding to Uganda, the U.S. ambassador to Uganda, Deborah Malak, said it would remain the same. The American government provided $896 million to Uganda in 2018.
We want people to understand our work in Uganda and how it is making a positive difference in the lives of Ugandans. So transparency really is why we are here today.
Focus was on security, prosperity, democracy, health and education.
So there is still a lot more work that needs to be done to empower the anti-corruption entities and agencies that exist, to give them the authority and the ability to actually go after people who are corrupt actors, including big fish, not just small fish. But that's a collective activity. It requires not just government action, but it also requires civic action. It requires the action and responsibility of individuals, because people who tolerate it at all levels, whether it's at the local level, whether it's in a school system, whether it's in private sector, you're all complicit. So, more activity, personal responsibility and collective action on a civic basis is also required, not just waiting for the government to do what it needs to do as well to ensure that it starts to root out corruption.
The 2018 report by the embassy indicate an increase in the fight against HIV and AIDS, support to empower the youth in job creation, agricultural advancement, private sector investment, among others. The U.S. government promised to continue monitoring the spread of Ebola, strengthen the economy, and create a tracking system with the National Drug Authority to boost equal distribution of drugs. Ngabo Amon, reporting for Ubc TV.
Now, members of parliament on the Human Rights Committee have been blocked from accessing illegal detention centers around Kampala. Members of the committee, led by their chairperson Jennifer Nantume Egunyo, were conducting a field visit following reports that internal security organizations are operating illegal detention houses.
The Parliamentary Committee on Human Rights has been investigating alleged detention centers across the country. The investigation on alleged detention centers follows a matter presented to Parliament by Kawempe North Member of Parliament Latif Sewagala, requesting Parliament to intervene. To establish the authenticity of the allegations, the committee visited Chengera, in a place said to be an illegal detention center. At Chengera, the committee found a tightly guarded enclosed residential house where members of parliament were turned away by one security personnel.
I met the big man. One. Hello, whom are we talking to? Kalibala Vincent. What is your rank? In charge of what? These premises.
Order to go to Nakasero, that's all.
He told them to first seek permission from the director ISO, Colonel Kaka Bajenda.
The order is to go to Nakasero.
To meet who? To meet who?
Afande, you're now speaking to the chairperson. Hello? Hello?
No additional statement.
We do oversight on spot visiting, and this is what we expected, that maybe they would allow us to enter here. So as a committee now, we can go back and decide on what to do next.
We know that you have summoned Director General ISO, Kaka Bajenda, and we know that he must attend tomorrow so that we can even add more questions as to why.
At Nalukolongo, just by the roadside, was another alleged detention house guarded by UPDF and LDU, where the MPs were again turned away. The same thing happened in Kabowa.
Again, we've been denied entrance by the people that are guarding the premises. They told us we must get clearance from the Minister of Security.
In Nakasero, however, an identified commander of the place requested to meet only the committee chairperson inside the premises.
Basically, he's calling us. He's calling me because he doesn't know why we've come here.
To him, if he allows that, you tell him your request. If he allows others to come in, then they will come.
Members of Parliament, and that's what we're saying.
You already told me that before. I know, and I've already told him.
But again, this, I mean, you're also operating under the law, so we expect you to be transparent and tell us
Until we are transparent. If one person can't go, then what?
Is just given those words to say.
Okay.
The committee chairperson in fear, however, declined to meet the commander.
That we either go as a committee
or we don't go.
Or we don't go.
One of the two, but you can't go alone.
It is for your own good also.
It is for
I understand.
Yeah.
To sit as a committee and decide. That is not a one person's decision. We are going to sit as members and decide on what to do next.
We will continue to investigate and will continue ensuring the human rights of Ugandans are protected.
The committee, however, resolved to summon the director ISO Kaka Bajenda to give an explanation. Susan Naonga and Gloria Guitabinji reporting for UBC News.
The people of Karamoja in Uganda and Turkana and West Pokot in Kenya have similar cultures and face similar challenges such as drought, food insecurity, and shortage of water and pasture for their animals. On Thursday, 12 September 2019, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni of Uganda and President Uhuru Kenyatta of Kenya will be in Itakwai, Moroto, to launch a major program of sustainable peace and development. This program is supported by Government of Uganda and Kenya, development partners, the United Nations, the private sector, and civil society. All members of the public are invited. Please be there by 7:30 a.m. Supported by Government of Uganda and United Nations.
Now let's cross over to Turkana and see the memorandum of understanding that will be signed by Uganda and Kenya. Now, Uganda will sign a memorandum of understanding with the government of Kenya to support cross-border peace and development. President Yoweri Museveni and his Kenyan counterpart Uhuru Kenyatta will officially launch the program on Thursday, 12 September 2019 in Moroto district. The memorandum aims at affording communities of Karamoja in Uganda and West Pokot in Kenya with opportunities for peaceful coexistence.
Until the complete disarmament of the Karimojong in early 2000s,
Karamoja sub-region in northeastern Uganda was known for cattle rustling. Their counterparts in Kenya were not disarmed. The possession of firearms by the Pokot and Turkana from Kenya poses a security problem to both countries.
So after we disarmed our own Karamojong, the Turkanas and the West Pokots would come into Uganda and rustle. They would also give arms some other Karamojong again to reinstate insecurity. And so this MOU is meant to ensure that we work together with the Kenyan government to ensure that there is peace on both sides of the borders.
The governments of Uganda and Kenya will sign a memorandum of understanding to ensure peaceful coexistence of communities living in the two countries. The two heads of state, Yoweri Museveni and Uhuru Kenyatta, are scheduled to represent their respective nations.
It is an intergovernmental agreement, so that we can handle security issues across each other's borders and ensure that our people live in peace and harmony for productive activity.
In the MOU, acknowledged by Uganda's cabinet, the two nations seek to bridge isolation gaps to improve their livelihoods for sustainable peace and development. Kenya needs to borrow a leaf from Uganda to have successful disarmament of the Pokot and Turkana.
You see, you can only disarm people if you're able to defend them and protect them. And Kenya, of course, has got the means and the ability to protect and defend the Turkana and the West Pokots as well. So how they will do it, that's according to them, they will find a way. But for us, what we're interested in is to ensure that the Turkana, West Pokots, and our Karamojong and our Pokots here, they live in coexistence because the borders that separate us are superficial.
The MOU milestone comes just at a time Uganda's cabinet has approved the establishment of the Uganda National Kiswahili Council. It aims at guiding the planning process, implementation of interventions, and allocation of resources to the usage and development of Kiswahili as a lingua franca.
If we want to make Swahili popular, one of the things we must do is to ensure that Swahili literature, at least beginning with the dictionary, the most common spoken words, is available. So we expect that this council should be able to root and push government to allocate resources to make those books, those reading materials available.
All this is happening at a time the East African community is due to celebrate 20 years after re-establishment in 1999. This makes Kiswahili, as a proposed second national language for Uganda, more than needed in the region. Henry Okrut, UBC.
Now, political parties under the IPOD coalition are rejuvenating the push for turning Uganda into a representative democracy with members of parliament voted by their political parties to parliament positions, as the parties are now voted by the general population during general elections. Former presidential candidate and Democratic Party strongman Paul Kawanga Semogerere started the talks about collective representation in parliament in the late 80s. During the IPOD summit, political parties under the IPOD backed the idea, among other electoral reforms, as we hear in this report.
First of all, you know what happens. It will be a great achievement for this country and for even Africa and for many other countries if we can agree on what is principally clearly necessary for this country to rise from the ashes.
Ziretebwanga obudde buweddeyo nga okulonda kubindabinda ekyo si kirungi naddala okulaba nti tetufuna kiseera kimala ekyokubaganya ebirowoozo ku mateeka agaba galeeteddwa mu paliamenti era bwe buzibu bwe tuzze tulaba mu kulonda okuzze kubeerawo mu myaka mu kulonda okuzze kubeerawo kino twakiraba mu kulonda okwa 11 mu kulonda kwa
Now, in the area of mindset change, the International Youth Fellowship Uganda and Makerere University School of Psychology have started a mind education training to help students realize their dreams. A Korean specialist, Dr. Kim Kain-sung, says that mindset change education addresses key constraints to development and social transformation. Mindset change education was launched at Makerere University in 2017, and that was in July, to address constraints to development and social transformation.
리더가 될 수 있는 충분한 능력을 가지고 있는 사람들인데.
I believe our university students they have a potential power to lead all the world.
마인드 세계 조금만 바꾸면
when they change a little bit in their mindset,
엄청난 일들을 할 거라고 생각이 됩니다.
I think they will do the great works.
이 대학은 우간다의 미래입니다.
The Makerere University is the future of Uganda.
우리 학생들이 우간다를 바꾸는 일들을 할 겁니다.
I hope our students will be the one who's changing the future of Uganda.
Let's step a little bit in the health sector, where over 300 units of blood have been collected during a blood donation health camp at Constitution Square and Watoto grounds in Kampala. The camp was organized by Bank of India in conjunction with Nakasero Blood Bank. The executive director, Bank of India, Amrendra Kumar, says the initiative is meant to replenish the inadequate blood at hospitals.
Every day, over 200 units of blood are needed at Mulago Hospital and other health facilities to save lives of accident victims, children and mothers. But currently, there are few people who can donate blood, often calling for donors. Bank of India and Nakasero Blood Bank have engaged the public to donate blood.
So we know much well that when students get holidays, we go through scarcity of blood. So for now, we call upon everyone that as students get holidays, in that holiday gap, let everyone come up and donate blood. We inform the country, please, blood bank does not sell blood. Blood is for free of charge.
The Executive Director, Bank of India, Amrendra Kumar, urged the public to help those in need of blood.
Last year we could collect 400 units, 403 units to be precise. This year we are targeting 600 units. And that's why we have kept our camp at 3 locations. The passers just sit down and say, I'm going to donate. So that's the spirit of Uganda. And we are just a part of it so that we can contribute whatever in a smaller way.
They are denied the right of living. All of us have the right of living. Now, if I have blood in excess, why should I remain with that blood in excess? The reasons why these hospitals cannot give blood to everybody is because they don't have adequate blood to supply to everybody.
Donor. So far I've donated 29 times today, and I know I've saved lives many times.
I'm Namamode Deborah, reporting for UBC.
Now, in Science and ICT laboratory assistants are attending a skills training under the Uganda Science Education Program. The board chairman, Brother Vincent Barija, says that the lab technicians will support effective learning of sciences by students. The training is supported by Brothers of Christian Instruction and the Little Sisters of St. Francis of Assisi.
The effective learning and teaching of science subjects and information technology for students in secondary schools starts with mutual cooperation between the science teachers, laboratory assistants, school administrators and students. Over 50 science and ICT laboratory assistants drawn from 20 secondary schools are undergoing skills training under the Uganda Science Education Program, supported by Brothers of Christian Instruction under the University of Chisubi, Little Sisters of St. Francis of Assisi. USEP Board Chairman Brother Vincent Balije said the lab technicians will support effective learning of sciences by Ugandan students.
Lab assistants have got a very significant role they play in the teaching and learning of sciences, in a sense that they support the teachers themselves because they are the technical part of the learning of sciences and teaching of sciences.
But there are still concerns on low utilization of science equipment given to students for science education. The USEP National Coordinator William Barugaba explains the significance of the training.
I mean, very many laboratory staff that are managing the labs in the secondary schools in Uganda are hand-picked. Very few are trained in the laboratory management. So we as USEP decided to train the laboratory staff in a bid to improve the quality of the teaching and learning of sciences.
The trainees say the training is a way forward for learners.
It will help me to handle students and teachers during the time for practicals.
The challenge is that some of the topics are practical, like Microsoft Word, spreadsheets. You need to be in the lab, even other topics. When you are in the lab, the students learn better because they look at it and they go on hands-on practice.
Of students and equipment during laboratory practical sessions and modern standard laboratory procedures are among the topics during the training. Edward Collins Juko compiled this report.
We right now take a short break and return with our business news. Stay with us.
Every dream has a challenging journey. Ours began in 1998 with a mission to drive the development of a robust communications sector in Uganda. We created structures to champion the dream. We've evolved, made discoveries, supported great minds, empowered Ugandans, and fostered a vibrant culture, enabling communication for all. Down the years, we've created memories and networks, uniting generations and building great partnerships. Together, we can go even further. UCC, celebrating 20 years of achievements.
Does heartburn stop you from eating the things you love? Eating too fast, alcohol or spicy food can trigger acidity, heartburn, indigestion or flatulence. Your best bet is Better Cool. Better Cool works fast to relieve acidity, heartburn and indigestion. Trust Better Cool. Enjoy life.
If symptoms persist, seek medical advice.
Have you completed Senior 4 or Senior 6 and you want to do a 2-year certificate or a diploma course? Makerere Institute for Social Development, an affiliate to Makerere Business School, offers programs in accounting and finance, business administration, procurement and supplies management, social work and social administration, information technology, counseling and guidance, human resource, project planning and management, journalism, secretarial studies, and many others. We are located on Sa Apollo Kegwa Road, next to Oilcom Petrol Station, with a UBTEP Center number.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Pain Arena. Introducing on the right corner, Mr. Action, the reigning heavyweight champion in the ring against
the Headache, the #1 contender. And the bell rings.
Headache charges forward with a steady right and a left hook. Action dodges. He misses out with an inch. Wait a minute. Mr. Action launches back with a kick. The final blow. He is out.
If symptoms persist, seek medical advice.
The Electoral Commission has released guidelines for countrywide reorganization of polling stations from 2nd to 14th September in preparation for 2020-2021 general elections to enable voters conveniently cast their votes. Every parish, ward and electoral area must have at least one polling station. Where no polling station exists in a newly created parish or ward, at least one polling station must be recommended by the stakeholders in the area. The returning officer must ensure that each electoral area at sub-county level is demarcated and approved by the Commission. Sub-county supervisors shall oversee the reorganization exercise. In case of parish, village or electoral areas at sub-county without polling stations, meetings will take place at the mother parish where current polling stations are located. For details, call 0312-211-050. Announced by the Uganda Electoral Commission.
Welcome to the business desk. And of course, we start from the Minister of Finance, Minister for Finance, Planning and Economic Development, Matia Kasaija, has unveiled the Deposit Protection Fund of Uganda. As Wadulo Mark Arnold reports, the fund is an assurance that customers of commercial banks and other deposit-taking institutions are in compensation to a maximum of 10 million shillings if it closes business.
Government has decided to increase the deposit insurance paid by deposit-taking institutions like banks from 3 million shillings to 10 million shillings.
It is to help create confidence in your financial system. Otherwise, people will be running out from keeping money in the banks. And you know that is not good running. It's not, we don't do that in an economy that is being run in a modern way. People must put money not under the mattresses, not in the pots. Money should be kept in banks.
The Deposit Protection Fund of Uganda is a legal entity created by the government of Uganda under the Financial Institution Act of 2004. Whose mandate is to act as a deposit insurance scheme for customers.
It is a commitment by government that should a bank in the financial system fail, there is a fallback position. They are guaranteed to reimburse or to pay the depositors a minimum amount of 10 million per account.
According to the central bank, starting July 2019, there are 12 million active bank accounts registered under various commercial banks in Uganda. And the Deposit Protection Fund is covering 11.2 million so far.
The fund currently is approximately 650 billion shillings in terms of absolute figures. And this is an increase from 480 billion in 2017 when we took charge of the fund as a separate legal entity.
In order to ensure safety and liquidity, the collected premiums are invested in Government of Uganda's treasury instrument. Reporting for UBC, Wadulo Makan.
And in a business roundup, government has instituted a task force to help curb the protection and production and sales of alcohol packaged in sachets. Meanwhile, Umeme has rewarded 50 more customers in its utility company's ongoing Pay and Win campaign.
The multi-sectoral task force has the mandate of implementing the ban of alcohol packaged in sachets and the bottling of alcohol in quantities less than 200 ml.
So for us, we're excited that we are banning this. We are limiting access to alcohol, especially to our children, to our teachers, to the new users who easily get 500 or pocket change and access alcohol. The other thing we want to see is limiting the drinking hours. It's only in Uganda where you drink 24/7.
Ministries that sometimes don't allow me to put it this way bluntly, that sometimes we have issues, especially with tobacco, where one ministry will not want to sit at a round table with another ministry because of differences in mandate.
While launching the committee, the Minister of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives, Amelia Chambade, tasked the task force to hit the ground running and collaborate for a common goal.
See them in shops, so please take note of that. Any alcohol
of 100 mil is prohibited. Deceptive promotion and marketing of alcohol products, targeting minors and encouraging irresponsible alcohol consumption. Those are very common, and we should reduce them.
Officials from the Ministries of Gender, Trade, Health, Finance are part of the committee, while others include Uganda Police Force, Uganda Revenue Authority, Uganda National Bureau of Standards, Uganda Manufacturers Association, and NEMA. In another development, Umeme Limited has rewarded the second group of 50 customers. This is the ongoing 3-month Pay 100,000 and more and win campaign.
But remember, this is purely about appreciating you, our faithful customers, and giving back to you. And that's why we're giving you or rewarding you with energy-saving electrical appliances. I pray you enjoy them and keep on winning, keep on buying. The more you pay, the more you buy, the more chances to win.
Dennis Ikoa for UBC Business.
In Rotary, Rotary International has partnered with Sanlam Insurance for the social and community transformation strategy. In this campaign, 3 outstanding Rotarian clubs are to be identified with good social influencing proposals for the maximum financial funding from Sanlam Insurance, as we hear in this report.
This agreement was reached at Sanlam Insurance head office in Kampala, and Rotary was represented by the Eastern District President, Lawrence Sentamu, for the implementation of Sanlam Social Transformation Strategy 2019. Sentamu identified some of the demanding critical areas which require special attention, and Rotarian is to submit proposals in time.
Witnessed in so many of the projects going across the country that even a basic education project can be transformation and creates long-lasting impact. The other day I was commissioning a maternity center, so it could come from different angles, but it's about being transformational and being long-lasting.
The 3 Rotarian clubs will shape the community needs before providing cash to a tune of 45 million shillings.
In doing so, we together empower the communities by creating an environment that cultivates economic prosperity through good health, a decent education, job creation, food security and income generation, and poverty reduction as an ultimate outcome.
The Chief Executive Officer Sanlam Insurance, Gary Corbett, said the community-attached venture will improve livelihoods.
We are conscious of the fact that there are several other individuals and brands alike that are involved in a myriad of social causes for the benefit of needy communities in Uganda. Investments have touched the lives of hundreds of thousands of people in our country.
Sanlam Community Transformation Strategy 2019 is the first of its kind and is expected to cover over 80 districts in Uganda. Abdul Nasili Luwama for UBC News.
How's that?
Now, in the area of infrastructure, the Uganda National Roads Authority has set 24th December 2019 to open the northern bypass flyovers for public use. The head of Public and Corporate Affairs, Max Sali, says that the purpose of this is to ease traffic jam common on such days.
Kampala City motorists will start using flyovers, which will save the time wasted in city traffic jams.
Our target is that by the end of the year, we will have opened up Sentema and that Hoima or Nansana interchange, if you want, all the way up to Bwaise, which is already double-end. So you will be able to come, for example, from the Kampala Entebbe Expressway and pour onto the northern bypass from Busega up to Bwaise, uninterrupted, with 2 lanes on either side, complete with guardrails and the middle, and also lighting everywhere. So that's what we are doing, and the contractor is moving fast now. So there's a lot of progress there.
The flyovers replaces the traditional roundabout technology, giving Kampala City a new look. Sali further says replacing roundabouts with flyovers and the construction of other mega flyovers to numerous express highways will now ensure improved connectivity.
So ideally, we're going to be reducing congestion in Kampala and ensuring that people save on travel time as well as travel cost, because we're talking about a very great important route. I talked about us coming from the airport, but also coming off the border in the east and coming from Mombasa. We have a lot of trade traffic that goes through our place and into DR Congo and Southern Sudan.
When all this work is completed, the new Kampala will not only be a flexible city, but a place of wonder, attracting both foreign and domestic tourists.
Now, Kampala Flyover project is in 2 phases. The second phase will be at Kitgum House, taking in a bit of Electoral Commission and a bit of the Centenary Park, that area. So that will be the second phase of the flyover, Kampala Flyover, which we'll be constructing. And again, it involves also widening of roads, a bit of widening of roads and creating flyovers and tunnels. That's why it's important for Mukwano Road to be widened, because the first phase of the flyover and the second one will then be pouring into each other and then pouring out the traffic out of Kampala.
Pathias Karikona compiled this report for UBC News.
Let us start off with basketball in our sports news. After a long wait, the Federation of Uganda Basketball Association has confirmed playoff dates for the 2019 season. The season of the league will start on September 20th with the quarterfinal matchups that will be played on the best-of-3 basis. In the men's category, Uganda Christian University Cannons will play Kampala Capital City Authority, and then reigning champions will play City Oilers, and that will date Ndeje University, and JKL will face Power, while Warriors will entertain Kampala International University Titans. Among the ladies, it's reigning champions JKL against Uganda Matters University Ravens. KCCA Leopards negotiate Angels Basketball Club, and then UCU Ladies Cannon will tussle a 2-1 challenge with the University Derby between KIU and Nkumba completing the fixture list. And in the under-17 girls category, Uganda's under-17 girls who are in camp in Jeru preparing for the inaugural of COSAFA U17 Girls Championship in Mauritius from 20th to 29th September have intensified training. Though 8 of the girls will be dropped before the departure, all players have shown positive energy. The team is set to camp for 10 days before trimming the squad to 20 players that will represent Uganda in the championship. Now, majority of players have been picked from schools competitions like the Airtel Rising Stars regional leagues and some from the FUFA Women Elite League.
We are actually finalizing our training to have our game tomorrow. We are playing Kampala Select team. Actually, I don't know the players in that team, but on my side, I've prepared my team adequately so that we can have that good encounter. This is my 3rd day of training, and I think I have a team that can play tomorrow.
Well, that does bring us to the very end of our bulletin here at 10. But before we sign out, let us have Juliet Alituvera give us the weather forecast.
Good evening. We woke up to a morning of light rains in Kampala and many different parts of our country. Later had a heavy downpour across the different parts of our country. This is the weather report from Uganda National Meteorological Authority. I'm Alituvera Juliet. From the rainfall report we received by 9 a.m. this morning, Gulu reported 5.2 millimeters, Kampala 1.4, whereas Entebbe reported 1.1 millimeters. And this is attributed to what we are seeing on our satellite image, that the ITCZ is still over our country, and both arms are contributing to the wet activities we are experiencing, and we expect these to continue for the next days. For tomorrow morning, we are expecting light rains for areas around Lake Victoria Basin and some parts in the central. For Soroti, we are expecting heavy showers. Elsewhere, sunny intervals will prevail. Later in the afternoon, we are expecting a wet weather pickup around Lake Victoria Basin, the central and the western stretch. Sunny intervals for the rest of the parts. So go ready with your umbrellas as you're moving out of your homes. Maximum temperatures will rise up to 28 degrees centigrade for the Karamoja region. Around Lake Victoria Basin, we are expecting a range of 26 to 28 degrees centigrade. For Kabale Highlands, a maximum of 23 is expected. Beyond Uganda, we are expecting Juba to have sunny intervals at a maximum of 32 degrees centigrade. Sunny conditions for Mumbai and Cairo, whereas rains are expected in Nairobi and Mexico at a maximum of 25 in Mexico. Thank you for keeping us company. Don't hesitate to visit our website as it is well displayed on your screen. Have a blessed night.
Well, thank you very much there, Juliet Aretuvera. As she said, prepare your umbrella for tomorrow's rain droppings. Before we sign out, let's have the trick up on our headlines. Government lifts ban on sugarcane export to Kenya. MPs blocked from accessing alleged illegal detention centers. As we cross borders, Parliament suspension begins as Johnson's election bid fails. And in sports, FUBA sets playoffs date. It's been a pleasure joining you in your living room to bring you what's making headlines. My name is Patricia Lokoma, and Mogalu Mohammed has been there on sign language. From the entire news team, for now we say good night, but keep it UBC TV.